Hey Chanakyans of grade 6, welcome to the video session. In this video, we are going to learn Geography chapter 7. I hope you understood and well known about the previous lesson, and this chapter 7 is about our country, India. So, in this lesson, we are going to learn the physical features and the main part of the India. Okay, so we are going to learn more about India and the physical features and in and around about the India. Shall we move on to the lesson? Yes. Now let's see what are the topics we are going to explore in this video. First, introduction, extent of India, standard meridian of India, neighbors of India, political and administrative divisions, physical features of India. At the end, we are going to recapitulate the lesson. Shall we start with the introduction? Yes. And see, as introduction, we'll watch a video and then we'll continue the next topic.
India has a strategic location in the world. It lies in the continent of Asia and entirely in the northern hemisphere. India has the largest coastline in Indian Ocean. The peninsular land of India divides Indian Ocean into two parts, that is, Arabian Sea on the west and Bay of Bengal in the east. The Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north, passes right through the middle, dividing the country into almost two equal parts. To the east of India's mainland lies Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal, and to the west lies Lakshadweep Islands in the Arabian Sea.
Now let's watch another video for the extent of India. Okay.
India is a vast country. The Indian mainland lies between latitudes 8 degrees 4 minutes north and 37 degrees 6 minutes north and measures about 3,214 kilometers. The longitude lies between 68 degrees 7 minutes east and 97 degrees 25 minutes east and measures about 2,933 kilometers. India has a land boundary of about 15,200 kilometers. The total coastline of the mainland, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and Lakshadweep Islands is 7,516.6 kilometers.
And now let's watch another animation for standard meridian of India.
0 degrees longitude, which is the prime meridian, passes through Greenwich, London. Time difference between the Indian Standard Time and the Greenwich Mean Time is 5 hours and 30 minutes. 82.5 degrees east is taken as the standard meridian of India that passes through Mirzapur near Allahabad.
And another video for neighbors of India.
India enjoys a strategic and central location in Asia. It easily connects with East and West Asia. India shares its land boundaries with Pakistan and Afghanistan in the northwest, China, Nepal and Bhutan in the north, Myanmar and Bangladesh in the east. India shares the longest border with Bangladesh, which is 4,096 kilometers long. It has a land frontier of 15,200 kilometers and a coastline of 7,517 kilometers. Towards the south, India does not share land boundaries with any other country. Sri Lanka and Maldives are the southern neighbors of India.
And now let's see the political and administrative divisions of India. Okay, see it on the map. Yes, Union territories. That is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. B. Chandigarh. C. Chadra and Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu, Lakshadweep, and National Capital Territory of India, and the G1 is Puducherry. Okay, see the all the alphabet and the numbers will be appear on this. Can you see the numbers and the letters? Yes. And states. So there are 10 states, 29 states are there in India, isn't it? Yes. So according to the number they have given: Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir. In this they have given 10. And the next: Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, and the other 9 are Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, and Telangana. These are the 29 states of India. And see, India is divided into 29 states and 7 union territories, isn't it? Yes. The capital of India is in New Delhi. States are mainly formed on the basis of language. Union territories are administered by the president through an administrator appointed by him. The states are further divided into districts for efficient administration. Clear? Yes. Now let's watch a video related to that.
India, with an area of 3.3 million square kilometer, is a subcontinent. It is surrounded by the Bay of Bengal in the east, the Arabian Sea in the west, and the Indian Ocean to the south. It is known for its diverse physical features. Himalayas, young fold mountains, run in a west-east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra. The Indian desert is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes and receive very low rainfall. The northern plains, being about 2,400 km long and 240 to 320 km broad, is a densely and agriculturally productive part of India. Peninsular Plateau. The oldest landmass is a tableland composed of the old crystalline, igneous, and metamorphic rocks. The Peninsular Plateau is flanked by a stretch of narrow coastal strips running along the Arabian Sea on the west and the Bay of Bengal in the east. Andaman and Nicobar Islands lie in the Bay of Bengal in the east, and Lakshadweep Islands lie in the Arabian Sea to the west of the Indian mainland.
Yes, I hope you understood the physical features of India, isn't it? Yes. Now let's see subtopics. The thing now in the previous video you watched, isn't it? The Himalayas, the Great Northern Plain, the Peninsular Plateau, the Great Indian Desert, the coastal plains, the island groups. So these are the things you learned in the previous video. Okay. Now let's see. Now let's watch another video.
Himalayas is the place of enchanting beauty. On the highest peak, temperature can drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius, and the altitude is starving oxygen. The word Himalayas Sanskrit word which means the abode of snow. This mountain system in Asia form a broad continuous arc of nearly 1600 miles along the northern fringes of the Indian subcontinent, from the bend of the Indus River in the northwest to the Brahmaputra River in the east. The Himalayas form the Earth's highest mountain region. Some 30 peaks penetrate 25,000 feet. It contains 9 of the 10 highest peaks in the world. Among these peaks is the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest, is 29,028 feet high. The second highest peak is K2 or Mount Godwin Austen, which is 28,251 feet high. The other high mountain ranges include Kanchenjunga, Makalu, Dholagiri, Annapurna 1, Nanga Parbat, and Nanda Devi. Himalayas is also one of the youngest mountain ranges in the world, mere 5 million years old. The Himalayas forms three parallel zones, namely the Great Himalayas, the Middle Himalayas, and the Sub-Himalayas, which includes the Shimalik Range and foothills and the Tarai and Luars Piedmont. The foothill of the Sub-Himalayas are covered by tropical moist, deciduous forests. In these forests, many rare species are found. These forests are homes to rare golden langurs. Down in the valley, there are many red pandas resides. Red pandas are suckers for bamboos. They are mainly found in China and only in a very small population lives in Bhutan. In Bhutan, many colorful birds are found. Sub-Himalayas disappear in Bhutan, and then further up in the Middle Himalayas, there are many different creatures. Bullock gibbons are the only apes found in India. Their thick, dense furs are better than any coat. Himalaya thrive various creatures thousands of feet up into the heavens. These creatures are a type of wild goat. Snow leopards are also found in the Great Himalayan region. The other animals found here are musk deers, sheep, and wolves. Nearly 40 million people are residing in the Himalayas. The Hindus inhabit sub-Himalayas and the middle Himalayan valleys from eastern Kashmir to Nepal. Tibetan Buddhists inhabit the Great Himalayas from Ladakh to northeast India. Ladakh is a very spiritual place. Followers of Buddhism lives here and there are many Buddhist temples located. People who are residing in Himalayan region have domesticated the yak. Yak can live in higher altitudes than any other animal. There are now very few wild yaks left in the world. People in this region depend on yak for all their needs.
Yes, now you learned about Himalayan mountain, isn't it? Yes, now let's see the Himalayas. It forms the second mountain range of the northern mountains. Okay, it lies between Indus River in the west and Brahmaputra River in the east. Next, let's watch another video.
The supercontinent Pangaea began to gradually split into different land masses and move apart in different directions. The northward drift resulted in the collision of the Indo-Australian plate with the much larger Eurasian plate. Due to this collision, the sedimentary rocks which were accumulated in the geosyncline known as the Tethys were folded to form the mountain system of Himalayas. Indo-Australian plate was moving at about 15 centimeter a year at the time of the collision.
Yes, did you see the video? Now let's see the longitudinal divisions of Himalayas. The Himalayas consist of three parallel ranges. Okay, they are the Great Himalayas or Himadri, and the Lesser Himalayas, that is Himachal, the Outer Himalayas, that is Shivalik. Okay, and in this, the Great Himalayas or Himadri, this is northernmost range of the Himalayas, and it forms the backbone of the Himalayas and dominates the extreme northern furniture of India. Okay, this dominates the extreme northern frontier of India. The characteristics of Himadris are: it is average elevation about 66,100 meters and permanently covered by snow, the longest and the most continuous belt of the Himalayas. It contains 9 out of the 14 highest peaks in the world, each more than 8,000 meters above sea level. It includes the highest peak mountain, Everest, that is in the kilometer of 8,848. The several glaciers are found, for example, the Gangotri and Yamunotri glaciers. See in this the middle Himalayas or Himachal. It lies to the south of the Himadri and extends from northwest to northeast India, and it also known as Lesser Himalayas. The characteristics of Himachal are: it average elevation between 3,700 and 4,500 meters, and the width is 75 kilometers. It is rug mountain system, and it composed of highly compressed and altered rocks, and it covers the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, western Uttar Pradesh, and northern eastern states. The famous valleys are Kashmir, Kangra, and Kullu Valley. Okay, and well known for hill stations. It is well known for hill stations. Next, move on the outer Himalayas or Shivalik. See the southernmost belt of the Himalayan range. It is the southernmost belt of the Himalayan range, and it runs parallel to the main ranges of the Himalayas. The parts of Shivalik form the foothills of Himalaya known as the Terai. Let's see the characteristics of Shivalik. It lowest and narrowest and newest range of Himalayas. Its average elevation about 900 and 1200 meters. It rises steeply from the great northern plains of India and Pakistan. It composed of unconsolidated sediments. Okay, and it comprises of several dunes. Example: Dora Dune, Kotli Dune, and Patli Dune. Storehouses of timber. So storehouses of timber. And let's see the significance of Himalayas. It forms the natural boundary between India and China, and serves as a climatic barrier. It serves as a climatic barrier and source of perennial rivers such as Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra. Its rugged terrain helps in the generation of hydroelectricity, the storehouse of timber and forest products, and it provides with several hill stations. Yes, children, this is time to check your knowledge, what you learned so far. The question: Himalayas are divided into three parallel ranges on the basis of height, width, area covered, or depth. The answer A. Height. The explanation: the Himalayas are divided into three parallel ranges on the basis of their height. That is, the Himadri with the average height of 6,100 meters, the Himachal with the average height of 4,500 meters, and the Shivalik with the average height of 1,600 meters. Clear? Now let's see the Great Northern Plains. The subdivision of Northern Plains or the Great Northern Plains have two subdivisions, that is the Indus River Basin and the Ganga Brahmaputra basins. The Indus River basins are it drained by Indus River and its tributaries. Most of the basin lies in Pakistan and also known as Punjab Plains. The Ganga Brahmaputra Basin. It forms a major part of the northern plains. It composed of two river basins, that is Ganga Basin and the Brahmaputra Basin. The Ganga Basin, if you take it, it forms by the Ganga River and its tributaries, longest river, which means 2,507 kilometers in India, and it covers 25% of the total area of India, and it is also known as Ganga Plains. And see here the Brahmaputra basin. It formed by the Brahmaputra river and it is tributaries. Total length of Brahmaputra river is 2,900 kilometers. The length of the Brahmaputra basin is in India 9,916 kilometer. Understand? Yes. In India, most of this basin lies in the state of Assam. Let's see the significance of northern plains. Agriculturally productive area because of its deposition of alluvial soil and perennial rivers fed by the melting snow. Most densely populated area. It is the most densely populated area and it has rich soil cover combined with adequate water supply and favorable climate, and it contains some of the largest rivers of underground water in the world. The Peninsula Plateau. Let's move on to Peninsula Plateau. See, it formed as a triangular in shape. It formed as a triangular in shape, and the border in the north, the tapering towards the south, higher in south than in north. The subdivision of Peninsula Plateau or Narmada River divided the plateau in two parts. They are the Malwa Plateau and Deccan Plateau. The Malwa Plateau, if we take it is bounded by Vidyan Range in the south and Aravial Range in the west, the Chota Nagpur Plateau in the east. And it lies to the south of the Narmada River and triangular in shape. It is triangular in shape. The important rivers are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri. And these rivers originate from the western Ghats and it flow eastward. The longest river is Godavari. See, it is bordered by Stepura range in the north and Western Ghats in the west, Eastern Ghats in the east. Move on the Western Ghats. The features of the Western Ghats are: it rises abruptly from the narrow western coastal plains and continuous steep and rugged topography. It is the continuous steep and rugged topography. It is the source of rivers flowing in the Deccan Plateau. Move on the Eastern Ghats. So in the map you can see the Eastern Ghats marked, and the features of Eastern Ghats are it broken and cut through by many rivers. It rises gently from the eastern coastal plains. Let's see the significance of Peninsula Plateau, and it has economic importance because of its rich mineral resources, and many rivers have waterfalls helping in the generation of hydroelectricity and great tourist attraction, and soil are suitable for cotton cultivation, the home for many wild animals. It is the home for many wild animals. Let's see the MCQ, the question. The rivers flowing in Peninsula Plateau are option A, perennial river, non-perennial river, inland rivers, permanent rivers. The answer non-perennial river. The explanation, river of Peninsula Plateau or rain-fed and non-perennial. Okay, they are not prone to floods and not suitable for navigation. Is it clear? And we'll move on the Great Indian Desert. So it is in the it is near the northern plain and the peninsula plateau. The features of Great Indian Desert, or it is undulating sandy plain and it covered with sand dunes. The rainfall, it is less than 150 millimeter per year. It will be more hot and arid and low vegetation cover in this area. The coastal plains are the western coastal plains. So in this you can see the western coastal plains, the eastern coastal plains. The features are it consists of deltas of the rivers, and it is broad and flat. It is broad and flat, and there are some salt water lakes or lagoons. For example, if you take the Chilka Lake of Odisha and Pulicat Lake of Tamil Nadu. Okay, the significance of coastal plains. See the good, it is the good one for agriculture, trade and industrial centers, fishing and salt making. It provides important hinterland for the ports, play an important role in the economic development of India. The island groups. So you learned about island group in your previous class itself, isn't it? Yes, that is the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. In that, the island groups are first one Lakshadweeps, next one Andaman and Nicobar. First, let's see about the Lakshadweeps. These are the small thieves in the see here. These are the Lakshadweeps. And let's move on to Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It is 10 degree from Chennai. Significance of island groups are there is a great diversity of flora and fauna in these group of islands. These islands lie close to the equator. It is experiences equatorial climate and has thick forest cover. Okay, and it provides sites for fishing and port activity. Now let's watch a video related to this.
An island is a piece of land that is surrounded by water. In India, We have two groups of islands that offer real amalgamation of beauty and nature. The Lakshadweep Islands and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Lakshadweep Islands are located in the Arabian Sea, formerly known as Lakadiv, Minicoy, Amandivi. These islands were renamed Lakshadweep in 1973. These islands lie between latitudes 8° north and 12° north, and longitudes 71° east and 74° east. Lakshadweep is a group of about 36 coral islands, out of which 10 are inhabited. The rest of the 26 ones are left isolated till now. It is located 300 kilometers to the west of the coast of Kerala. The total area of Lakshadweep Island is 32 square kilometers. The main islands are Kavaratti, Minicoy, and Amini. The capital of these islands is Kavaratti. The Lakshadweep Islands are of coral origin. Do you know that coral is the skeleton of tiny sea animal known as polyps? Lakshadweep is a perfect combination of beautiful islands, coral reefs, atolls, crystal clear sea water, and the silvery sand beaches. It has very rich variety of flora and fauna. Lakshadweep is a coconut territory. Entire land space of the islands is filled with coconut palms. Other than coconut, jackfruit, lemons, and bananas are also grown here. The major communities that reside in Lakshadweep are Amini Devi, Koyas, Malmis, and Malacharis. Another group of islands is the Andaman and Nicobar, which is located in the Bay of Bengal. These islands lie between latitude 6° north and 14° north, and longitudes 92° east and 94° east. The Andaman and Nicobar group of islands has over 572 islands, out of which only 38 are permanently inhabited, 11 in the Andaman group and 13 in the Nicobars. The Andaman Islands were known as Kalapani, which means black water. The Andaman and Nicobar group of islands are separated from each other by 10-degree channel as Andaman in the north and Nicobar in the south. The total area of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands is 700 square kilometers. Trichy Archipelago is an important islet in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands is Port Blair. These islands are of volcanic origin. These islands offer a wide variety of seasonal vegetables, pulses, pepper, nutmeg, cinnamon, and a huge variety of fruits. The major communities in Andaman and Nicobar Islands are Andamanese, Onkis, Jarawas. On 26 December 2004, the coasts of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands were devastated by tsunami. Thousands of people lost their lives. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands offers endless variety of exotic flora and fauna. These two groups of islands attract tourists from all over the world.
Yes, this is about the Andaman and Nicobar and the Lakshadweeps. Okay, yes. Now let's recapitulate the lesson. The major physical features of India are the northern mountain range, the Great Northern Plain, and the Peninsula Plateau, and the Great Indian Desert. Finally, coastal plains and islands, isn't it? Yes, these are the major physical features of India. Okay, children, we came to the end. I hope you are very clear about the lesson. And if you have any doubt, you can keep re-watch the video. Okay, don't worry about the present situation. It will change soon. We'll meet you in the school campus very soon. We'll look forward for the good thing. Till then, keep educating yourself by doing the activities which is given by the teachers. Okay, children, thank you.